Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. I have a special surprise this week, and for those that are on YouTube already know, but we're back on YouTube. Y'all, I've been like refining and really trying to really like master my workflow. And really master like how I want to do things and just what actually works for me, what's not working for me. And with having a line 3 in my human design, it's just a lot of trial and error, and it's a lot of experience. Just like living through it and actually feeling into what is working and what is not. And like I've just been like in this little, I don't even know how to describe it, conundrum maybe, with like, okay, like I'll go live on Instagram, I'll use that workflow is working really well, but then I'm like, okay, well, like this video can't go anywhere else, like, I don't even join lives on Instagram. So I'm like, why am I going live on Instagram just so I can have this audio when I can record it and put it on YouTube and just have the podcast that I've been wanting, which is having a presence in both spaces. So we're doing something different this week. We're back on video and it just feels so good. I don't know what it is. I just feel like I can really be myself and just thrive behind the camera when I'm able to talk to y'all this way. So if y'all are on YouTube, hey, so happy to have you. For my podcast listeners, know that this is an option moving forward. And I am just so unbelievably excited to bring this episode to you this week because I don't know if it's the Taurus new moon. I'm just feeling like so beautiful, charismatic, amazing. I don't know where that all came from. I don't know what it is about the Taurus new moon, but like I'm just feeling so juicy. And when I think about like the times that I wasn't feeling very juicy and not feeling fulfilled and abundant and filled with love, I'm like, what was really keeping me from accessing this abundance, the success, the fulfillment? What was really keeping me stagnant and stuck in that place where I felt like I couldn't completely be myself? And so this episode is really all about that question, like, why aren't you feeling fulfilled? Why are there moments in our lives where it just feels like no matter what we do, it never seems like enough? And it's not, and the things that we are doing that we might have thought was going to bring us the happiness and the success and the love, for whatever reason, it's just not, it's not hitting the way that we thought it was going to hit. And the number one reason why we aren't fulfilled in our lives and what we are doing, what I have found in my life, what I've seen time and time again working with clients, is that there is a part of you that is not acknowledging the truth. The truth about how you are really feeling about this person, this situation, this aspect in our lives. There is some part of us that is refusing to see, admit, acknowledge the truth that is behind the unfulfillment. And that is what keeps us being like, okay, well, like maybe things will get better. Maybe I'll feel differently. Maybe they're changing. Oh, the summer's coming, like things will slow down at work. Like, I'll take those couple of months, right, to just be in my own energy, be in my own space, and like maybe in the fall, like it'll give me enough of a break. But when you keep coming back to it, we're still in a miserable place. It's like when I kept just, instead of admitting that like being an executive assistant was just not working anymore, I was just like, oh, maybe it's just the company. Like, maybe it's just my boss. Like, maybe I just need to be making more money. And I hopped from executive assistant job to executive assistant job, getting me the better benefits and the better boss and the better pay and this, that, and the third. And having that be the, oh, well, it must be this. When in reality, it was just not working. But I did not want to see that, because seeing that meant then I had to figure out, well, if it's not this, then what is it? And that's what keeps people stuck. And that's what keeps people opting in to their own unfulfillment. Because when you start to be like, okay, if it's not this, then what? That self-discovery journey of figuring something out that's new, maybe a different career path, a different avenue, a different role of like, okay, things have to change. Doing that work seems harder and seems scarier than doing the mind-numbing work, being in the subpar relationship, being in the subpar job that you're already in. Which sounds so backwards, but it's so fucking true. And so when it comes to this, and we're like, okay, if I actually acknowledge my truth, right? And I really take a seat. It's like, Meg, like, I know there's aspects of my life that just aren't working. But I don't even know what acknowledging that truth means, and I don't know where we want to go. Like, I don't know where to go from here. I want to take you through a really cute process and a really cute exercise to start to really bring you into a deeper awareness of your truth, of your patterns. And I made a reel about this the other day, and so I want to take it on a deeper dive. So it's going to be a little like workshop style, I guess. If you have your birth information available, I want you to go look at your birth chart in astrology. And I want you to look at these three things. I want you to look at your North Node. I want you to look at your Saturn placement. And I want you to look at your Chiron placement. So pause this video or pause the audio, pause this episode, go look it up, and then meet me back here. I want you to look at these three things because this gives us a really great starting point of like, this is the energy that we are being called to move into in this life right now. This area is where I am constantly going to be called to have more structure and take more accountability and have more boundaries, which are always really important. Because usually this is the place where, especially during our Saturn return, life can really feel like they're slapping us in the face. Okay? And then looking at your Chiron, looking at your wounding, just because this is wounding does not mean we're meant to carry this wounding forever, but it gives us a really great understanding of where to look first. What the patterns that are really keeping us in a place of disempowerment and how to bring us closer to where we're trying to go. So, your North Node is, in astrology, the energy you are meant to embody in this lifetime. So I want you to look at where it is. It's like that cute little like upside down U, and it's very small for whatever reason. In the birth chart, it's like cute. But I want you to look at where it is and the house that it's in. And I want you to note the houses that these placements are in because it gives you a better understanding of the theme and the themes that each of these planets are kind of activating in your life. So for me, my North Node is in Sagittarius in the 10th house of career. What a prominent place to have my North Node, which is what I'm meant to embody, right? So not only in my career, my North Node is, but with Sagittarius, I am meant to share higher knowledge and wisdom with the world, right? It is meant to be my public image. It is something that I'm meant to be known for globally, right? Because Sagittarius is the adventurer, it is the world traveler, while Gemini is more of community, small fish, big fish, small pond, while Sagittarius is small fish, big pond. I don't know if I said that. I don't know if I got the pond analogy correct. I'm pretty sure I did. But it's a global scale. Okay, so that's the energy that I'm meant to step into. Higher knowledge, higher learning, spreading it throughout the world, my wisdom, my teachings on a global scale. Okay. And I'm meant to be known for it in my career. This is what I'm meant to be doing. Okay, cool. I'm also going to actually in the show notes, because I don't want to go, I feel like it would take so much time to go house by house by house. So I'm going to put a list of the house descriptions in the show notes so y'all can look at the houses while you're looking at your chart and kind of get a better understanding of what's going on. Then we have Saturn. And Saturn is where, like I said in the beginning, we're really meant to have more accountability and more structure and more boundaries in our lives. And a lot of times when we are feeling unfulfilled, when we're feeling strung out and burnt out, it is because the boundaries where we need to have boundaries are not there, right? The standards that we need to have are not there, right? To be fully living on purpose, in our purpose, feeling fulfilled in our full self, not just our career, in our life, every avenue of our life, our relationships, the relationship with ourself, career, our home, everything, okay? So that's why I want you to look at Saturn. My Saturn is in my first house. So that is the house of self and of identity. And so when my Saturn return rolled around, which if you join my masterclass, Saturn return is a transit that happens every 28 to 29 years, depending on where it is in your chart. And it goes kind of like your birthday, right? Where the sun returns to the same spot of when you were born. Saturn just takes 29 years to do it. And when Saturn rolls around, Saturn rules, it's very big grandfather energy. So Saturn rules responsibility and accountability, right? So my Saturn placement really shows me that I am meant to have better standards and boundaries around my sense of self. Especially my Saturn is in Aquarius, which is all about the community. And so this is also me very much leaning into my rising sign. It's also my first house. So it's a really, really interesting placement for me. My Saturn return really brought me through an entire identity crisis, brought me from the girl in corporate America just not wanting to figure herself out, not wanting to look behind the curtain and understand why she was so unhappy. It was just easier to numb out and hope it went away than actually take a moment and understand who I was, what I wanted to do, what I was passionate about, what I stood for, how I wanted to be viewed in the world. Do you see how important when my purpose is to share my knowledge and wisdom with the world, how I want to be viewed in the world, my first house, how I want to be perceived, my identity, who I am is so important to that that piece of the puzzle of like being in purpose, right? So like super important to really look at this and be like, okay, where is life calling me to have more boundaries around where my Saturn is? Where am I looking the other way when I really need to be looking directly at it and actually taking it seriously and actually taking myself seriously? And this truth that I know is there, but I haven't wanted to admit it. If this truth is true, what does that mean for me? Right? And so really looking at this placement and understanding it. And then we have your Chiron. And your Chiron, so it's not a planet, it is a asteroid in the sky. And your Chiron represents, they call it the wounded healer. And it kind of acts as this Achilles heel of our chart and of our energy. It's the wounding that we tend to have when we come into this life. So this is very much where you see like repeat behavior. Like when sometimes the same thing and the same circumstance happens over and over and over again. I kind of always, you want to look to the Chiron and be like, there you are, because they are a part of you. This wounding is a part of you. But that doesn't mean that we have to continue to experience this wounding over and over again. For example, my Chiron is in the 7th house of relationships. It's in Leo, which is also my sun sign. So it's really, really interesting. So my sun, right, my ego desires meant to be big and bold and beautiful, also in that 7th house of relationships. And so having like deep, loyal, like I'm like movie type of love, like that's how dramatic, like and fiercely I love myself, I love the people in my life. And it's also my Achilles heel, meaning that especially in my relationships I have had throughout my life, since like before, the first time it didn't really happen until elementary school, but I always had these really intense friendships that would then end really dramatically, and it would hit me so hard, whether I was in the wrong or they were in the wrong, or like, when you're young, it's just like, who even knows what happens to have it be the way that it is. But I noticed again and again, because now in my adult life, granted, it's not like it happens often where I'm like meeting friends and then they're like ditching me, right? That's not that's not really the pattern, but it's noticing that I'm like, oh, I've had like 4 pretty big, significant like friend breakups, and let alone like when I also was the type of person, like when I really dated someone, like I dated them. So I've only really had like 3 major relationships in my life, like major. Jason being one of them. So if that says anything, like I was never really a serial dater, because when I was in it, I was in it. It's just very Leo. Like once you're there, once I'm fiercely all about you, then that's it. And so I would notice, this wounding come up, and I'm like, okay, so interesting, like where is this wounding feeling like, because especially with the Chiron, it being in Leo's what's the word that I'm looking for? Their shadow aspect is being insecure, needy, people pleasing, like very much not standing on like being the sun, but constantly trying to illuminate everyone else, even if it meant inhibiting their own light and shying away from their own opinions and truth, trying to make whoever else feel more comfortable, right? Just as confident as Leo can be, we can be also some of the most insecure as well. I say this with so much love for myself and for my fellow Leos. So I want you to look at these three things. And the reason why I want you to look at these three things is because don't you see now with Chiron, when we keep having the same wounding happening over and over again, we have to take a look and be like, okay, what is this wounding really here to teach me? The boundaries that come from Saturn and our Saturn placement can help us elevate out of the wounding and bring us closer into that North Node, right? And so these three aspects are really working together. And so when you ask yourself in your Saturn, like, what is happening in my Saturn, especially if you're in your Saturn return, so all my Saturn and Pisces, kings and queens, you guys are very much feeling the energy of Saturn right now. Even people that aren't in their Saturn return still should look at their Saturn because, it's always still there. But especially those going through their Saturn return are really feeling the energy of Saturn, really feeling the reality checks, and really feeling like the things that we might have been glossing over can no longer be glossed over. So when we really look at this placement, what is happening in this area of my life? So looking at your house placement, what is happening in this area of my life that makes me feel like it is keeping me from the energy of my North Node, of really being in that full embodiment? And then looking at your Chiron and asking yourself, maybe you're journaling this out, or you go for a walk and you're thinking about it and you're talking about it out loud, whatever feels like the best way to just get these things out. Voice note, whatever feels best. But really asking yourself that question, like, what is happening in my Saturn in this placement that is keeping me from my North Node? And then going to Chiron and asking the same thing. What wounding, what pattern is happening in this area of my life that is keeping me from this fullest embodiment of what I'm here to do? And journaling it out. Because when you start to notice what's happening in these two spaces, now we can start to understand the truth of the things that we have been avoiding. And once we can acknowledge the truth of what we are here to avoid, now you can start to bring yourself out of the weeds, right? Out of the conundrum. I'm like, okay, Megan, we're in the shadow work now. Okay. Meg, thank you for taking me here. I'm here now. Like, how do I get out of this? And this is where I start to get into the human design and quantum healing portion of my practice. Human design, I love to talk about astrology being like, this is the energy that like we're coming into the world with. The good, the bad, the ugly, everything. Like, this is everything that's happening in the sky. I chose this very moment to like deal with all of this. So like, here we go. This is what I've been dealt. And then human design shows you how to work with the energy that we came in with, right? Because when we need to start putting boundaries in place, when we need to start understanding the patterns that we keep opting into, human design has a strategy, an authority that is uniquely meant for you. So, what I really want to come across and like really explain is that a lot of the time, I think people are constantly looking for like this 10-step process to get us out of the hole that we feel like we've dug ourselves into. But at the end of the day, every single journey and every single human being is different. Thank God. Thank God. So, your human design and understanding the way that you are meant to work with energy in your life, the way that you are meant to make decisions that is actually feels good for you, the way that you are meant to manifest, the gifts and activations that you came into the world with. When we have this understanding and know how to work with the energy that we have been given, we can then really begin to start to embody the energy of that North Node, of that fulfillment, right? Because you can also correlate the boundaries and the practices that are coming out of that Saturn placement need to be implemented. And I like to do that through human design, really learning how to listen to your body, how to listen to your intuition, how to acknowledge your feelings, how to really understand how to lead yourself. We can do that through human design, which is so fucking cool. And then to take it a step further, now that we know what we're working with and we know how to work with it, now we incorporate quantum healing to start to go in and reprogram the limiting beliefs, right? I want to use the example of my one-on-one client today. She came to me super anxious and stressed about money, which is honestly probably the most common like aspect of our human existence to be nervous and stressed about, right? And so when we are stressed about money, and though like I'm like, okay, well what's our plan? Like we need to have all this money come in, like as much as we love the manifestation practices and we love the miracles happening in every moment, our human self also needs that grounded masculine structure. So like, how is this money coming to us? Like, what's the plan here? And she's like, oh yeah, like I have a plan. I have this, that, and the third, but like, I still just get so nervous. I still just feel like I'm nervous that it's not going to work. Like I'm nervous that like my energy just like can't keep up. And so through quantum healing, we took her on a journey, which after uncovering and really laying out on the table everything that we are worried about, I'm like, what's the core belief? Because that's really what's driving the show. Like the beliefs and the stories that we tell ourselves are what creates our reality, right? And so reprogramming our beliefs, we can do every manifestation practice in the world, but if in the background, in our subconscious, if we have the belief that we are not enough, which is what this belief was that came through for my client, then nothing that we're doing in the physical and the 3D is going to work. When we believe that the things that we're doing are not enough, and we are not enough, right? So we need to go in there and start reprogramming. And we journeyed into her childhood and we found the original wound of how it came into existence in the first place and how it bled into every area of her life and what belief actually needed to be put into place and how that can bleed into every area of her life. And so that is how this beautiful little mixture of understanding your astrology, of understanding the tools and practices and your strategies of human design, while looking at and healing the wounding and limiting beliefs that are keeping us stuck and stagnant and repeating in the same behaviors, that is what starts to propel you forward in living in your truest, most authentic embodiment. Isn't that really cool? Now, you're like, okay, Megan, like, this is all great, but like, how am I meant to navigate this, right? And it's like, well, of course, like, we don't need to sprint, right? Take one thing at a time, right? Taking the time to journal, taking the time to do your research, taking the time to really like sit with this acknowledgement of truth. But that is why having this type of support is so important. Because we can let ourselves spin out for days about like worrying about money and like not understanding why it's not coming through, and she's in her luteal phase, and like so the hormones aren't working in their favor, and like it's just so much can always go into play. And having the support, having the structure, having someone be able to hold you while you go through this discovery and find places and have things come through that she let us in the session. She was like, Megan, like, I am always so shocked. I never expect the things to come up. The things that come up in these sessions, I would have never guessed would ever come up. And that's what's so beautiful and amazing about this work. And that's why I'm here to hold you in it. If you want the support of having someone really help you understand the energy of your astrology and your human design and bring you through the healing portion of knowing all of this information, right? Because at the end of the day, it's great to know ourselves, right? And I think so many humans and people are constantly, in this quest to just know ourselves and to better understand ourselves, understand why we are the way that we are, right? It's so cool, like, that we do that as humans. However, information is just information, and nothing changes if nothing changes. And so having all this information is amazing. But now, to actually bring about the change that you are looking for and really bringing you into that fulfillment and that next level of success, we need to embody that energy. And that is why these are my main pillars and my framework in every area of my business. And for those going through their Saturn return, that is why it's the 3 pillars of Unafraid. My newest group program, that for those that are going through this time where Saturn is just like, just rumbling you a little bit, understanding that this is such an important time of your life where we can actually see very clearly what needs to shift and what needs to change to bring us to our next level embodiment, to bring us closer to what our heart is actually yearning for in this lifetime. It is like the most powerful time. Some call it the most tumultuous, but it is some of the most powerful times of our lives. And you can experience the most incredible breakthroughs when you learn how to surrender to what is happening and continue to usher yourself through this awakening that you're going through. I do this in my one-on-one private work. And if you want a little taste, I also now revamped my intro sessions that include pieces of your astrology, human design, and quantum healing, the 3 of them together. And no, it's not like I'm not going over your sun, moon, and rising. I'm pulling the biggest aspects of your chart that really, I feel like, because I'm using my intuition too. So like, depending on like where a lot of energy is, those are the things that I'm talking about in this reading that are really here to usher in major change and shifts depending on what's going on in your life, and really taking a look at that aspect. So then I can start to tailor this experience to what you need, right? We want to focus on love. Okay, I'm going to pull on the things that are going to focus on that, right? This ain't your sun, moon, and rising reading. So pulling on your human design, pulling on your astrology, and then diving into the work through quantum healing. And that's why Unafraid, my group program, there's nothing like this on the internet. I've looked. I was shocked when I had the download of like, this is what your next group program is going to be. I'm like, really? There must be. Everyone goes through this. Everyone experiences this time of their lives multiple times. And that's why having this support really having someone that can witness you in realizing that Saturn is coming in for you to unbecome, letting go of all of the expectations and the projections and all the beliefs that we thought were our truth and that we needed, all the versions of ourselves that we needed to be in order to bring us towards whatever archetype we thought we needed to be in life. Like, it's a great awakening. And when you have someone that can actually come in and see all of you and guide you towards releasing the beliefs and the programming and the conditioning and actually help you come back into who you are and align you to the energy that you are really here to be. So life actually does feel fulfilling. So life does feel easy. Like, there's no other hands-on program like this. There are Saturn return programs out there, but they're like passive courses or they're like worksheets or things like that. And this is in the weeds with you. You get one-on-one time with me. We have weekly calls where we're diving into understand like how to tap into our intuition, how to lead ourselves, what it means to strip away these beliefs and how to understand what these certain beliefs meant to us, right? So we have this group element while also having one-on-one support with me. So you're really able to dive into this deeper sense of becoming and this deeper sense of, okay, I'm not only here to acknowledge my truth, but I am here to acknowledge it over and over and over again. Because I'm not backing down. I'm not shying away anymore. I'm not allowing myself to stay down. Because I'm already down bad. I'm already down bad. So I'm ready. I'm ready to do more. I'm tired of being tired. I'm tired of being fed up. I'm tired of being frustrated. I'm tired of being angry. I'm tired of being bitter. And I'm ready to just be myself. And this program takes you through that process in the most beautiful way. And then if you just want one-on-one support, you know where to find me in Untamed. Because then all eyes are on you. And that is a beautiful rebirth process as well. That's for anyone through any time of their life. Unafraid is really for the folks that are going through their Saturn return, about to go through it, or just went through it and they were like, what the fuck is that? And like, need to like integrate this shit, right? It is going to be so, so beautiful. Because your journey is beautiful. Even when we're feeling down bad, right? I was talking to my client, especially when we were feeling into the energy of just, being nervous about burning ourselves out and like not feeling our best, but feeling like we need to show up every day, even when we're not feeling our best. And, I was telling her about the idea of our younger self. And when our younger self, our inner child, when they would get sick, they couldn't go to school because they weren't feeling well. We didn't shame them for feeling well. We didn't make them feel like they needed to do anything besides like they were sick and they needed to be taken care of. And why doesn't that apply for us right now? You know, and we expected, and whoever parent was present in our lives dropped what they needed to do to make sure we were taken care of. Right? Because of course, it was a child that was sick, needs to be taken care of. Whatever parental figure that you have in your life went and took care of you one way or another. And so now we get to be those people. And who are we to say, like, because we're down bad, that we're not worthy of being taken care of? Because we're not feeling 100%, because we're not feeling fulfilled, we don't get to, we're not worthy of being shown up for. We're not worthy of being nurtured. We're not worthy of coming along for the ride, of healing, of being on this journey of wanting more and being more. Because then they're going to get healthy again. And then everything's going to be okay. But it's like, we get to show up for ourselves no matter how we're feeling, because we are worthy of that type of unwavering support. And having someone that can hold you and like learning your new legs of how you are advocating for yourself, how you are taking care of yourself, standing up for yourself, loving on yourself, and honoring yourself, right? It's one of the most beautiful experiences. It's the work that has transformed my life. And it was the portal of my Saturn return that really got me there. That got me from the lost, barely holding it together party girl to someone that started her own business. I genuinely never, ever, 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 ever thought I would ever do that. Ever. I'm not lying. Because I thought starting a business meant inventing something. I thought I had to invent a new product or something. I don't have tech skills. I'm bad at math. There was so many. I genuinely, younger me, when I go back in time, I'm like, girl, this is what you're doing. She's like, what? But it's true. And so if you are ready to use this portal as a time for deep expansion and the biggest quantum leap of your life, you need to get an unafraid. You need to. It is the most important time to take advantage of, and it's on pre-sale, and you'll get a bonus one-on-one with me before we start. We're going to start in June, and it's only going to be on pre-sale until I think the 15th, I want to say. Let me look at the calendar. Yeah, the 15th, that Wednesday. Oh my God, look at me. Knowing dates and things. Dead. Okay, so it's on pre-sale now. Take advantage while the price is the lowest it's ever going to be for 6 months of weekly support, plus voice support in between sessions, plus monthly one-on-ones with me, for us to really dive deep together, for us to really understand who we are and take the time to acknowledge all the shit that we're here to acknowledge, embody, and let fucking loose, right? It's just going to be such an incredible experience. So link to everything in the show notes. If you have questions about where you want to be in my world, where to start, please send me a DM. And actually, before I forget, if you want a taste of Unafraid, You want to deep dive into like really experience what it's like to work with me and get a feel of the work that we would do together in Unafraid. I'm hosting a 4-day free challenge that's going to be hosted on Telegram, which I've been a part of a few of these and I loved them. So I'm so excited to host this and do this because I'm like, what am I going to do it? I just like never knew. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm just so excited. This is what I'm going to do. So on Telegram, I started a broadcast channel. You'll join it and every day I'll pop in and share the transmission for the day. And I'm going to be taking y'all through my process of alchemy that I take every single one of my private clients through. The acknowledgement, the release, the rewiring, and the embodying. Every day, I'm going to pop in, share my teaching, share actual practices that you can take yourself through every single day. So by that 4th day, it is like this is an accelerated journey, but even by the 4th day, you will feel like you just did some magic to take you from like feeling like, I don't know what the fuck is going on. Why do I keep doom scrolling? Why do I keep eating shit that I know isn't good for me? Like, why do I keep letting this man ruin my life? Sorry, so dramatic. Know that I say this with love, and I'm also talking to myself when I remember these things. Like, why am I letting it get this bad? 2, actually knowing how to bring awareness, spot the behavior in the track, spot the belief, reprogram the belief, and move yourself forward in momentum where you are feeling aligned, assured, and clear as fuck. So it is a free 4-day challenge to really get into the juice and into the goods of what we are going to uncover in Unafraid. It's going to blow you away. The shit that I do for free, it's because I love you guys the most. I love you guys so much. And honestly, like, this is just the work that I love to do. It's an honor, honestly, to be able to take y'all through it. So cool. I can't wait. Link in the show notes. We're going to do it from May 21st to the 24th. So a perfect way to start Memorial Day weekend, if you don't say. Starting off like with a whole ass like quantum leap. Am I right? Getting into Gemini season, that like spicy, fun, kooky Gemini season. I'm a Gemini moon, so, you know. Also say that with love. But it's going to be a party. It's going to be so much fun. And yeah, it's on Telegram, so it's also passive. So I'll be popping in there. You'll have the Telegram forever. You can listen whenever you want. You can pop in there. With your findings, if you're doing it day by day, if you're catching up on things, you'll be able to catch up. It's really like when you can tap in and do it. But know that for those 4 days, I will be moving y'all through the process of alchemy, which is so fucking cool. All right. I hope y'all enjoyed this episode. I had the most amazing time, and if y'all want to dive in and have any questions, DM me on Instagram, email me directly. I hope y'all have the most amazing week ahead, and we will talk soon.